Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 hours a week and becoming that busy fool. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you the 6 steps to setting SMART goals so you can achieve your big life and business goals far quicker than you ever thought imaginable. Now, before we go there, you've probably heard the exciting news, and that is we have now released our waiting list, our priority waiting list for you to register your interest and details for the launch of our brand new Trades Freedom Club membership and community. This is a new community and a membership that's going to gain you access to all the help, support, coaching, guidance, knowledge, and accountability that you need to help you build, grow, and scale your business. Click the link in and around the description of this episode for you to add your details to our priority waiting list. Now, let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. Do you set S.M.A.R.T, SMART goals in your business and in your life? And more importantly, are you hitting these big life-changing goals? You see, the answer to most people is no. The reality is the daily chaos of running your own business can easily distract you and get in the way of setting your goals. You're managing your jobs, you're dealing with your customers, you're chasing payments and sorting out your team. I get it. So is there any wonder that goal setting often takes a back seat? But what is the point of running your own business and having to deal with all that stress and responsibility if you're not going to hit goals such as your finance goals or your health and well-being goals or even your relationship goals? It's pointless, right? Now, in life and particularly in business, we hear of this phrase, don't we? Goal setting. And I know you know what goal setting is. And to a certain extent, you might say, Craig, I already set goals. But do you really set goals? Are you setting SMART goals? Because what I find is most people said, you know what, Craig, yeah, I've got a goal, I've got this, I've got that, and I've got this. And I almost look at them and go, that's not a goal. That's never been a goal. And a prime example of this is my inner circle. When I'm doing our, let's say, application Zoom sessions and giving people a free strategy session to understand whether they're going to be right for inner circle, one of the questions that I ask them is, right, what is the end goal? What does your business look like when it's finished, it's done, it's built, and you're there? Tell me what the goal is. And the responses that I get pretty much are like this. Well, Craig, what I'd like is 6 people working for me. Yeah, about 6 people working, maybe a part-time person in office as well. I'll probably have about 3 vans on road. I'll be running multiple jobs by that time. I want to come off the tools and take a back seat. And then what I'll be doing is I'll just be concentrating on doing the surveys and the pricing and bringing the work in. And then I can give that to my team. Yeah, that's where I want to be. And then I say, no, I mean, what is your goal? What is the end goal? What is it that you want your business to give you? What is the outcome? What are you going to achieve? And they'll go, that's my goal. That's what I want. And I'm like, no, that's not a goal. That's just a freaking vague vision that you've just conjured up in your head. And let's face it, probably half the people that are listening to this podcast right now are probably saying, well, that's pretty much what I want, Craig. That's not a goal. It's a vague vision. So I said to him, all right then, if that's what you want, do you have a business plan on how you're going to reach that end goal? Do you have a cast iron written down plan and a step-by-step process of how you're going to reach that goal? And they'll look at me and say, honestly, no, I haven't. I don't even know where to start with a business plan, Craig. All right, thanks for your honesty. What about this question? Do you have a marketing plan on how you're going to reach your sales targets and your sales goals to give you what it is that you want? And they'll say no. Okay. Do you have a financial plan, a financial forecast of how you're going to reach all of these financial goals that's going to provide you and your family with everything that you want, that you've conjured up in your mind? Do you have a financial plan? No. So then I'll say, well, how are you supposed to build this dream life for you and your family if you don't have any laser focused goals and you don't have any plans to reach them goals? Basically, you're winging it. Now, I understand this because I used to be the same. Nobody ever taught me about business and goal setting and planning 30 years ago when I set up my joinery business, and I were winging it. In fact, I were winging it for 12 long, hard years without setting cast iron goals. And I was the one that was saying, I want 6 people working for me, a part-time admin person, 3 vans on road, multiple jobs running. I want to come off at tools and I just want to sort of like do the surveying, pricing and getting the jobs in. That were me. That's exactly what I used to say. And my goal were almost like, well, if I could get to this magic £1 million turnover, and if I made 20% profit, I'd be making 200 grand a year. I can live comfortably on 200 grand a year. I could buy a nice 5-bedroom detached house. I can have a nice car. I could take my family and my kids to that dream holiday in Disneyland that I've been promising them for the last 10 years. And I'd be working me bollocks off, 80 hours a week. And then I'd get to the end of the financial year, or maybe get to sort of like back end of December as a New Year's approaching, and I'd take stock and I'd sit down and I'd look back. And yeah, I'd progressed in certain parts of my business and I'd progressed in certain parts of my life. But the law of averages says, if you put the graft in, you're going to get some results. But what I was doing is I was taking 3 steps forward and then the shit had hit the fan and then I'd end up taking 10 steps further back. So I used to get to the end of every year feeling like I'd made progress, but in reality, I'd not, because I weren't earning the money that I wanted to earn. I'd not got the business I wanted. I'd not got the lifestyle I wanted. I weren't living in the house I wanted. I weren't driving the car I wanted. I weren't fit and healthy and good at gym and have all the well-being and mindset that I wanted. So in reality, I'd not set any goals, and this was starting to become a major problem in my business. And working with over 30,000 trades business owners now, I know that the vast majority of you haven't got written down cast iron SMART goals in your business and your life, and you're not spending any time working towards achieving them goals and getting that outcome. And you know what? I'm smiling now and thinking back then how I used to think and how my mindset were. And this is what used to happen to me. It might not happen to you, but I'll share it. It used to be New Year's Eve, right? Whether you're with your family, your loved ones, your friends. And back then, I used to drink alcohol. For those people that have been following my journey, you know that I don't drink alcohol anymore, right? But then I used to like a good drink. So I'd get together with all my family and friends. We'd have a few beers, glass of wine, whatever, on New Year's Eve at a party. And then midnight had come, we'd sing Auld Lang Syne, and then I'd give my wife a big love and a big kiss, and I'd said things like this to her. Do you know what? I can just feel it. this next year is going to be the year that we do it. This is the year where we make the money. This is the year where we grow as business. This is the year where I can take the kids to Disneyland. I can just feel it. And then I'd jump on the bandwagon with everybody else in January. I'd join a gym, and first 2 weeks I'm firing on all cylinders, and I'm focused on achieving this and that and this and that. And then what happens? Come middle or end of January, you slip back into your old habits, your old routine, you fall back into that rut, and by middle of February, all of that New Year's resolution, right? All of that wish list, all of that bucket list, all of those vague ideas have gone. And you're back into the rat race, running this business and dealing with all the shit that comes with it, and the goals have disappeared. So let me be brutally honest with you now, right? Nobody is coming to save you. Get that out of your head. There isn't a miracle. There's not a magic wand. There's not a silver bullet. There's not a magic pill that you're going to hope and pray that you're going to take over this, let's say, next 12 months that's going to dramatically change everything. That next big job, you know, the big job that you're waiting for to bail you out, it's not coming. So get your heads out of the clouds and have a reality check. The only way this is going to happen and you're going to achieve your goals, your dreams, your wishes, your needs, your wants, your desires, the only way this is going to happen is if you do these 3 things. So grab your notepads, grab your pens, and grab your tablets, and let's start by writing what these 3 action points are. Number 1, you've got to start setting SMART goals. S.M.A.R.T. It's an acronym, right? And I'm going to be explaining what a SMART goal is and how it's completely different to a freaking New Year's resolution and a wish list, right? So number 1, you've got to set a SMART goal. Number 2, you've got to gain the knowledge on how to achieve these goals in the quickest amount of time. Because some of these goals are going to make you have to get new knowledge or find people or something that's going to help you achieve the goal quicker. Number 3, you've then got to take massive action on the knowledge that you're learning, and you've got to put that into whatever that goal is, and then you've got to get laser focused on achieving that goal. And if you do not set a SMART goal, find out the new knowledge that you need to learn, and then take massive action on what it is you're learning, you'll never get to where you want to be. You'll do what I did. You'll take 3 steps forward, and then something will happen, and then you'll take 10 steps further back, and then you're nowhere near your goal. And this were me back then. This is how I ran my business for 12 long, hard years. And guess what? After 12 years, yeah, I progressed a little bit in my business. I might have got a tiny bit more than I had when I were employed, but I certainly weren't in a position where I expected to be after 12 years of graft in my business all my life. I wasn't there. And I used to think to myself, what am I doing wrong? You know, I'm putting the effort in. I try this and it don't work, and then I try that, and now I'm running out of ideas and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Why is this happening to me? I look at other people and I look at what they're doing, and I can see them progressing. You know, their businesses are growing. They're making, let's say, more money as part of their goal. Their lives are progressing and building. So why isn't it happening for me? And one of the things I realised back then is, number 1, my mindset wasn't right. And if you follow me or you listen to my podcast or you've been coached by me, you will know that mindset is the key to success. The business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. And back then, I were negative, I were doom and gloom, everything felt like hard work, everything felt like I were pushing a boulder up an hill. I just couldn't seem to get to that promised land. But the problem wasn't the business, the problem was me. I was the obstacle, I was the hurdle, I was the bottleneck. And until I actually accepted that, which were a bitter pill to swallow, by the way, after 12 years, but when I accepted it, I realised that I had to change my mindset. I had to change my approach. Now, you might be sat there going, that's great, Craig, or how did you change your mindset? What did you do? So what I want you to do, I want you to go back at the end of this episode and listen to episode number 9. Because in episode number 9, I teach you how to develop a positive, bulletproof growth mindset to achieve success. And when we start to shift and change the conditioning on how we've been programmed and how we've programmed ourselves to act and behave and to grow our businesses and to take a level of action, until that starts to change, then you're not going to get results. So number one, you've got to look at changing that mindset and coming out of the state that you're in now and developing a growth mindset. So that's episode number 9. So I started to develop this new mindset, and I'm going to suggest that you do the same. And along this journey of new personal development, there were a quote by Albert Einstein that has stuck with me for, it's got to be 20 odd years now. It's got to be 20 odd years. And that quote is this, and I'm sure if you're on your personal development journey, you will have heard this quote because it's a famous quote. And that is this: the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Let me say it again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly over and over again, which some of you will be doing this in your business, in your life, but by doing the same thing that's never generated you the result, you've not changed your approach and tried something different with a new mindset. You're doing the same thing, but you're expecting a different result. Well, that's never going to happen. And what I want you to imagine is this. Let's say it's the summer and you're sat at home and you've got your window open. And you might be in office doing some quotes or in your office or whatever you're doing. And then all of a sudden, a fly comes in and the fly's buzzing round. And it's starting to really annoy you because it's just there buzzing and it's distracting you. Now, imagine that window being closed with the fly inside the room. And we've all seen it when a fly tries to get out of a room, it'll go to a window, and what does it keep doing? It keeps banging against that pane of glass. Bang, 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 and then it'll come off. And then it'll go bang, bang, bang. And all it's trying to do is escape from the room. But what does it keep doing? It keeps smashing into that window, and you've all seen it. Now, imagine you opening the window and pushing the casement open and taking a step back. That fly is going to keep hitting and banging that pane of glass. But the solution to its problem, the open window, is literally 6 inches away from them to the left. And all they need to do is fly 6 inches to the left and solve the problem by getting out of the room. But they don't. And then you're wafting your hands, or you get a newspaper or whatever, you're trying to knock the fly out the window. But the fly's still smashing into the pane of glass. The solution is there. The goal is there. Fly 6 inch, get out the window, let me shut my window and crack on with what I need to get on. But the fly doesn't do that because it's programmed to keep doing the same thing over and over and again and not changing its approach. What I'm saying with goal setting is You've set New Year's resolutions. You've had a bucket list. You've had a wish list. You might have even put things in your diary. But have you achieved these big life-changing goals in your business and in your life? And for the vast majority of people, you're going to say, no, I haven't, Craig. I might have done one, but as I'm going to share with you on this episode, you need to be setting 9 life goals. And don't you think it's a shame that someone could go through the whole year grafting and grafting and grafting, and at the end of the year, when you look back, you've had a couple of little wins, a couple of little milestones, a couple of little results. I don't want to get to the end of the year now and look back and get a few wins. I want some big goals that I need to achieve. But the only way in which I'm going to achieve them goals is if I change my approach. Just like the fly. If they'd have changed their approach, they'd have escaped the room. And that is all I'm asking you to consider on this episode, right? To open your mindset up. You know that goal setting's important. It's not been working for you probably in the level you want it to work at up to now. So we're going to change our approach and we're going to introduce some SMART goals. And you're going to put in place exactly what I'm going to share with you now. And I guarantee that if you do that, and you take massive action on the knowledge that you're going to learn, you will hit goals that you never thought imaginable within the next 12 months. Because I do it. I teach this strategy to my inner circle members. Every week, someone's putting into our inner circle WhatsApp groups. They've hit this big goal. They've hit this one. They've hit that one. And it's life transforming. That's where you need to be. You need to be rewarded for the fruits of your hard work, running a business. You need rewarding for that. So, grab that notepad and pen and let's get stuck into what is a SMART goal. A SMART goal is a goal, and we're going to take that goal and we're going to dissect it into 5 areas. And what we're going to do is we're going to chunk it down into little bite-sized manageable chunks that each little chunk that we hit ends up working towards the big goal. Because for some of your goals will be huge. And I want them to be huge. I want them to scare you, right? Don't go setting little piddly goals that you know that you can easily achieve. If I want to progress in business, if I want to progress in life, I need to be setting myself some huge goals, right? But I might set that goal and I might look at it and I might think, it's a bit overwhelming. You know, it's a massive goal, that. How am I going to achieve it? So what I do is I turn it into a SMART goal and we break it down into these following 5 areas. Now, SMART is an acronym, S.M.A.R.T. And I'm going to walk you through what each letter stands for because this is what makes up the 5 bite-sized chunks. And from this point on, we're not going to say, oh, I've got a New Year's resolution when you're pissed up on 31st of December, or, oh, I've got a quick bucket list of things I want to tick off this year. No, we're going to take one of those big goals and we're going to dissect it and break it down into each one of these 5 areas. So, S stands for specific. Specific. Which basically means you've got to be specific with that goal. And we've got to get as laser focused as what that goal is by being as specific as we can. Let me give you an example. You might say, right, in January, I'm going to go and join the gym. Right. So the goal is to join the gym and lose weight. And that's what most people will say. And I'll say, that's all right, but that's not a SMART goal. That's not specific. If you want to lose weight, how much weight? If you want to lose weight, by when? How much weight do you have to lose per week to achieve your overall target? How many training sessions do you need to do a week? How many of them are going to be tone-up sessions? How many of them are going to be cardio sessions? Do you need a PT? If so, how many days or sessions a week are you going to have the PT for? Are you with me? So we're not saying I want to lose weight by joining the gym. We're saying I want to lose 3 stone. I want to lose 1 stone a month, which means I've got to lose X amount per week, which means I've got to lose X amount per day. I'm going to do that by joining a gym and attending 4 times a week. 2 of them sessions are going to be tone-up sessions. 2 of them sessions are going to be cardio sessions. I'm going to get a PT, and that PT is then going to set my dietary requirements, and therefore I'm going to have to hit certain levels of fat, certain levels of protein, certain levels of carbs each day. Can you see what we're doing? We've been absolutely laser focused on what that specific goal is. And unless you get laser specific on what it is, you'll never achieve it. So, S stands for specific. M stands for measurable. In other words, we've got to measure your progress or your success or your journey towards that goal by measuring something. This could be money. This could be time. In the example I've just given you, it could be weight. But we've got to be able to measure the progress, because if we're not measuring our progress, we don't know whether we're heading in the right direction. So M stands for measurable. A. A stands for achievable. And what I mean by this is, you're going to be setting a time frame on when you are going to have got this goal achieved by. So there's no point in setting a SMART goal if it's not achievable in the time frame that you're giving it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you were to come on my inner circle and I'm going to help you grow your business, right? You might say at the beginning of that program, right, Craig, by the time I get to the end of this program, I want to be driving a brand new Lamborghini. Now, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but is it achievable given that you're only turning over £500,000 and you're only making a 7% net profit? And you're working 80 hours a week and you ain't got a business plan, you ain't got a marketing strategy, your team's poor and you've got no systems in your business. So how achievable is you driving a Lamborghini within the next 12 months? Probably slim. So you've got to make sure that the goal is achievable, not too easy. We don't want to make it easy, but at the same time, you've got to be realistic with it, haven't you? So A stands for achievable. R stands for relevant. Relevant. And the reason why it's got to be relevant is, what's the point of setting a goal if it's not relevant and aligns with your values or your long-term objectives or plans? Just because you see somebody else going away and doing A, B, and C doesn't mean to say that you've got to follow suit. And I see this quite often. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. It's like that business and that businessman or woman, I want to aspire to be like them. And they've gone away and done this. So therefore I have to do it. No, you haven't. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. These goals are your personal goals. They've got to be relevant to you, your family, your loved ones, your business, and your success, and nobody else's. So as you're thinking of these goals, are they relevant to the long-term objective that you're trying to achieve? And the final one is T. T. And T stands for time bound. Time bound. If you do not put an end date or an end time on this particular goal, the goal will drag on. Because you're going to give yourself bullshit excuses on why you're not achieving that goal. And then what you'll say is, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll knock it out a couple of months because something more urgent and important's come on scene. So you knock that goal out a couple of months. You don't put a time on it. You don't put a date on it. There's no end. There's no finish to it. And then you don't get it done. And then it springs back in your mind and then you go, oh, I'll add another month on it. So all that's happening is you're setting your SMART goals, but because you haven't put an end date and time on it, you keep nudging it out. Well, listen, setting goals has to have an end time date on it, or otherwise you'll keep knocking it back. If I say my goal is to achieve this by this date on this time, I'll work my knackers off and I'll work round the clock and I'll be relentless in pursuit of success until I hit that goal. I don't move the time, I change the plan. I don't move the end date, I change my approach. Are you with me? So you've got to stop moving time. If you're committing to having something done by this date or this time, then you do whatever you've got to do to achieve it. And if on that journey, it looks like you're falling behind, don't change the date, change the plan. Change your approach, change what you need to do, but do not change the date. So when we start talking about SMART goals, now it's not a New Year's resolution. Now it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and we're putting a time on it and an end date. So when you hear me talking about SMART goals, and when I get my inner circle members to set their 9 life goals as SMART goals, you'll hear me talking about this. This is exactly what we're talking about. We're taking that vague vision and breaking it down and creating a SMART goal. Now, in this section, I want to share with you the 9 different goals that I set for myself every single year. So what I do is the second week in December, it's in my default diary to set my 9 life and business goals. And I set them in December. And I also sit down with my wife and my kids and I share these goals with them because some of these goals involve them. So I get them involved in the goal setting process. Because if I only ever set my own goals and I went 100 mile an hour in one direction to achieve them, and my wife set her goals and went 100 mile an hour in her direction, all of a sudden, there's a gap between us. There's a disconnect. There's a wedge between us. And that can come between relationships. So whether you're sitting down with your business partner and dealing with your business goals, or sitting down with your husband, wife, or partner to deal with your relationship goals, or your children, it doesn't matter who you're sitting down with, the goal's got to be representative of the people that it involves. So I would say sit down with your family and go through these goals. Now, if you just set a business goal and you're hell-bent on just achieving your business goals and you're working 80 hours a week, you're 100 mile an hour doing these goals, you're putting all the effort in, you're putting all the time in, but you're not dedicating time to your family or your health and your well-being, what's going to happen? I'll tell you what'll happen. You're going to be working stupid hours and ignoring all your family, so you're going to end up with relationship problems. You don't spend me time working on you and developing you, so your health and your well-being and your mental state starts to suffer. So all of a sudden, you're chasing the money, you're chasing the bigger business, but the things that are around you that are more important than your business, i.e. your relationships and your health and your well-being, is suffering because you're chasing one goal. So what I do, I break my business and life down into 9 different areas. And each one of these 9 areas, I set a SMART goal for, and I do this the second week in December. So when we come back to January after Christmas and New Year, while everybody else has got their New Year's resolutions and the wish list and the bucket list that are serving them no purpose, I'm armed and I'm motivated to achieve these 9 life and business goals within the next 12 months. So my advice to you is start by setting 12-month goals. Yes, you'll hear people saying, what's the bigger picture? What's the bigger plan? What's your 10-year goal? What's your 5-year goal? What's your 3-year goal? And to a certain extent, we need them. But let's face it, if we're not setting SMART goals now for the next 12 months and we can't achieve what's going to happen in the next 12 months, if we don't do that, it's going to cock up the 3, 5 and 10-year plan. So what's the point in planning that far ahead? Let's plan for the next 12 months. So grab that notepad, pen and tablet again and start to make some notes, because I'm going to cover off each of the one of the 9 goals. And then I'm going to ask you to go away and start setting a SMART goal for each one of these. Okay, goal number 1 is your family / partner goal, right? So what is the goal for your family, your relationships, your husband, your wife, your partner over this next 12 months? If you want to improve that relationship, right, what's the goal? What do you need to set? What are you going to do over this next 12 months? SMART goal number 2 is a wealth and finance goal. Okay? So what is it from a financial point or a wealth point that you need to do over this next 12 months? I know what mine are, but what are yours? Remember, our finances and our wealth has got to grow. Remember, our business is just a vehicle that provides us with a financial reward every week, every month, and every year. And that financial reward and that wealth is going to determine our lifestyles. So what's your wealth and your financial goal over this next 12 months? SMART goal number 3, property / home goal. And what I mean by this is, what do you want to do home property wise? Maybe you're sat there and going, Craig, we need a new kitchen, right? Brilliant, right? Get that down as your goal. For some of you, you might be thinking, do you know what? This next 12 months, I wanted to move into property, so I want my first HMO. For others, you might set a goal that this next 12 months, you're going to move house. Like we've done. I've literally moved house. This year, it was set as a goal for me and my family, and we've achieved it. It might be the goal is I want to move out of rented and I want it to get a mortgage, right? So number 3, what is your property / home goal? SMART goal number 4 is your business / career goal. What is the number 1 goal in your business? Yes, I accept in your business you could get lost and you could set 50 different goals. But really, are we going to achieve all that? If you could pick your number 1 biggest business goal, what would that be? SMART goal number 5 is your travel / holiday goal. Listen, we all want a break. We all need a holiday. I'm fortunate enough now in my position that I can afford to go wherever I want, and I've got the time to do it whenever I want. But I didn't used to have. I used to be broke and I used to be skint and I didn't have enough money to go to Butlins for a weekend. No disrespect to Butlins, by the way. I'm just trying to give you other end of coin. That's where I was. So what I'm saying is, what holidays do you want? What holidays have you promised your kids? What city breaks do you want? Where do you want to go and visit? What's the dream destination? Remember, this is within the next 12 months. SMART goal number 6 is what I call possessions or toys. And I know that not everybody's materialistic, and I get that, and I appreciate that. But for some of you, you may be, or you may want to treat yourself to something new. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's a Rolex watch. I don't know. But come on, we all deserve to treat ourselves every now and again. And it doesn't have to be something mega expensive. It's something that's important to you, but it's a possession or a toy or something materialistic that you might want to reward yourself for all your hard work. Okay. SMART goal number 7 is your personal development stroke learning goal. Remember, you've got to be developing yourself. You've got to be developing that growth mindset. You've got to be learning new knowledge that's going to help you make that shift in your mindset. So what's the big goal? What do you want to achieve over this next 12 months with your mindset and your personal development? SMART goal number 8 is your health and well-being. Over this next 12 months, what's going to change? Because we can all improve on our health and well-being. Maybe you're like me and it's diet and nutrition and health and well-being from a fitness point of view. I set myself a goal of stopping drinking alcohol. I've achieved it, right? So what is your health and well-being goal? Write it down. SMART goal number 9. One that catches a lot of people out and people don't really focus on this. And that is what I call your contribution or donation goal. In other words, what goal are you going to set yourself to help somebody else? And I'm not just talking about contributing, donating money here. It doesn't have to be money. It could be a time. You know, for the last 17 years, I've been involved in grassroots football. And for the last 7 seasons, I've been a football coach. So I contribute my time back into my football team, to my girls, my daughter's football team. So it doesn't have to be monetary. It can be time. It can be anything. But come on, we've got to be helping other people. The law of attraction tells us if we do enough good deeds for other people, it's going to come back tenfold. Why do you think multi-millionaires and billionaires give millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of money away to charities? 1, it's a tax dodge. We know that. But 2, they know that they're going to get it back. It's going to come back to them further down the line. So what I want you to consider is, I get right now that you're probably thinking it's a business goal because this is a business podcast. However, there's 8 other goals that you need to be factoring in. And what I would do is pick the number 1 goal for each one of them 9 areas, right? And then get that set. And then what we do on My Inner Circle is we work towards achieving these goals. And when we tick one of the goals off, we replace it with another goal in that area. So let's say, for argument's sake, it's your travel and holiday goal. And you say, right, I want to go away for 2 weeks on a family holiday in August, and we're going to go on 13th of August, and this is where we're going, right? And you come back from that holiday, you've ticked it off, right, set the next one. Set the next one now. So you've always got 9 goals consistently running. Now, what I say to My Inner Circle members is this. Right now, how many of these goals are you actually hitting? And be honest, how many are you hitting? Some people might say, well, actually, Craig, I've done 3 of them in the last 12 months. And I'll go, brilliant. 3 out of 9. It's okay. It's 33%. Some people might say, Craig, I've not done any. I've not done any because I haven't been focusing on these. What I'm saying is this. I don't always hit all 9 goals. In fact, this last year, I've hit 7. But am I looking at this, having achieved 7, thinking I failed? No. That's 7 more SMART tested goals I've achieved by doing this process than I would have if I'd have just had a New Year's resolution. So I don't look at this as failure. I might not knock all 9 off, but there's 9 on, there's 9 I'm working towards, and if I achieve 7, I'm happy. Are you with me? Now, in the next session of this episode, I'm going to share with you how each one of these goals needs breaking down into 6 steps. And if we break that SMART goal down into 6 steps, we've got more chance of achieving that goal because we've broken it down into bite-sized chunks. Now, there are 6 steps to SMART test your goal. We've already established what a SMART goal is, and we've broken S.M.A.R.T down so you understand it. And now we've established what the number 1 goal is in those 9 areas. So we've got the goal, we know what it is. But what we need to do now is SMART test it by breaking it down into these 6 steps. So again, grab your notepads, grab your pens, and let's go through these 6 steps. And if you follow these 6 steps, you'll achieve your goal a lot quicker than you would have done previously. Now, little disclaimer. Some of these goals that you've written down might not need all 6 steps. It might only need 4 of these steps, and you'll be able to work out that as we go through them. But then there's others that will need all 6 steps. So don't feel as though you've got to come up with 6 things for every one, because as I'll give you an example, some of these you'll not be able to get these 6 steps in. However, let me give them you. So step number 1 to SMART test your goals is very simple. Write down exactly what your number 1 goal is in them 9 areas, but be specific. Remember, S stood for specific. So if you're going to move house, right, when you're putting your house up for sale, what needs to happen? Where's the new house going to be? What's your budget? What are all the moving parts that you need to pull together? Solicitors, stamp duty, agents, all that lot, as an example, needs pulling together, doesn't it? It's not we're going to move house. It's flipping out. There's a lot to it. Having just been through it, I know what goes into it. So there's a lot of things that we need to do to be specific on moving house. Likewise, you might say it's your business and career goal, and you might say, right, I want to earn an extra 200 grand after tax in my business this year. Right, okay, if that's what you want to do, let's look at the numbers. What does your turnover need to be? What does your gross profit need to be? What's your net profit? What we're going to do with the tax? How can we avoid overpaying on tax? You know, there's lots of things and metrics and specific numbers that we're going to need if that's the case. So step number 1 is write down what the goal is, but then break it down and be as specific as you can. Step number 2 is the T in SMART. It's time bound. So set a deadline for the goal. It's not autumn next year. It's not, I'll do it in about 3 months' time. It's not, oh, if I could have that done before my birthday. It's not that. It's right, I'm going to have this goal achieved by the 12th of October, 2020, whatever, and I'm going to achieve it by 10 a.m. And then what you do is you take that time and you put it into your default diary, and nothing moves the time. Remember, if you're going to be falling behind on achieving that goal, or something's not quite right, you don't move the time, you don't change the time, you change the approach, you change the plan. So step number 2 is time frames. Step number 3. Determine the obstacles that you've got to overcome to achieve that goal? What are the choke points? What are the bottlenecks? What are the things or the obstacles or the walls or the hurdles that you're going to have to overcome to achieve that goal by the date and the time that you've given yourself? Because I don't know about you, if I'm going to get an obstacle put in my path, I'd rather know about it up front than just running head on into it and having a big collision. Are you with me? So I'll sit down and I'll say, right, this is the goal. This is when I'm going to have it done by. Right. What are the things that could trip me up along the way? And then what I'll do is I'll highlight and I'll identify what they are so I know that I need to overcome them, and therefore nothing's going to jump out at me and surprise me along that journey. So step number 3 is determine the obstacles that you need to overcome up front to achieve that goal. Step number 4, determine the additional knowledge or skills or ability that you're going to need or need to learn perhaps to achieve that goal. So, example of this could be, right, I'm fed up of where I'm in my business. I need some coaching as an example. So what do I need to learn? Well, I need to learn the numbers in my business. I need to learn about a new marketing strategy. I need to learn how to employ the right team. I need to learn how to put SOPs, standard operation procedures, into my business so I can start to delegate. All right. Understand and work out what that knowledge is and get that down. It might be the gym example as I gave earlier. Right. You might have to start to learn about carbs and fats and acid and protein and how all this lot comes into your diet. There's going to be a certain level of knowledge that you're going to need to learn if you want to lose weight. One of the goals I set myself was to climb Ben Nevis. Right, what's the knowledge I need? Right, well, where am I going to stay? What's the route I'm going to take? Can we have a guide? How long is it going to take me? What happens if bad weather kicks in? What clothing, what do I need to take with me? How am I going to get down if the weather turns? All this lot were knowledge that I had to learn before we did Ben Nevis. So step number 4, determine the additional knowledge, skills and abilities that you're going to need to reach the goal. Step number 5. Determine the people, groups, or organizations whose help will get you to that end goal quicker. Prime example of that is if you want to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business, you either join our Trades Freedom Club new membership, or if you want to take it to a whole new level, you join my inner circle. So I will be the person. The Trades Freedom Club will be the organisation. The inner circle will be the group. Are you with me? So some of these goals, you're going to need people. You're going to need help. You're going to need support around you. If you want to lose weight, you're going to need a PT. You see where I'm going? So step number 5, determine the people, groups, and organisations. Step number 6. And for me, this is arguably the most important. And that is the why. The why. Why are you doing this goal? Who's it for? What are the results going to give you? What's the benefit to you, your family, your friends, your loved one, your business, your home? What is the why? Because there's no point in just setting these goals if we don't really understand why we're doing it. This is not a tick box exercise just to please me. Just to say that you set SMART goals. What's the reason why you're doing it? It's to achieve what? There's got to be a benefit. There's got to be a result. There's got to be a win at the end of it. So why are you doing what you do? So step number 6 is write down what the why is. Because that's the thing that's going to pull you through. And when you're maybe falling behind on your goal and you don't think it's achievable anymore, you look at the why, and that tells you why you're doing it. And that's what gives me the kick up the backside to think, do you know what? I can't slack off, because if I do slack off, my why is it's going to affect my family or my kids or my loved ones, and I'm not letting that happen. So I'll give myself a kick up the backside, and then I'm back in the saddle. I'm back being relentless to achieve that goal. But that's because I understand why I'm doing it. So we're going to take that goal and then we'll break it down into those 6 areas. And remember, your goal might not fall into all 6 areas. One of these goals, you might say, well, I don't need any other people, groups or organisations, Craig, to take my husband, wife or partner out on a date night every week. And because that's what I've set my family and partner goal as, I don't need an organisation to help me do that, do I? Right. So don't fill step number 5 in then. But your goal will include 3, 4, maybe 5 of these. You just got to work out what they are. So now when you think about it, team, here's what we've done. We've taken the SMART goal and we understand what SMART is for. We've chosen the number 1 goal in 9 different areas of business and life. So we're not focusing just on business, because if we focus just on business goals, our health and well-being goals are going to fall by the wayside. If we just focus on as business goals, then as relationships are going to fall by the wayside. So we've got to build a balanced life and a balanced business, hence the reason why there's 9 life goals. So we've got the goal, we've SMART tested it, we've identified what the number 1 is, and then we've broken, dissected it down into 6 areas. And once you break the goal down and you can see what's involved in front of you, you're going to make it a lot easier for yourselves to achieve that particular SMART goal. Now, the final part to pulling all this lot together is making these goals a reality. And for those people that know me, you will know that I am massively into what I call and what is known as the law of attraction, right? And I'm into visualization techniques and visualizing the end result, visualizing that goal, visualizing me achieving it and making it feel real. You'll also know that I'm big into manifestation. So by visualizing the goal, keeping it in my subconscious mind, constantly thinking about the goal, right? By doing that, the goal is going to be more achievable because it's in the forefront of your mind. And trust me, things will start to appear around you and opportunities will start to appear that you never thought would be there that will help you achieve that goal quicker. Let me explain what I mean. I'm going to give you an example of you buying a new car or a new van, right? And let's say that you've decided you want a new family car and you're on Auto Trader and you're going through Auto Trader and you're going through all online auctions and everything else that you're doing. And through a process of elimination, you decide that you're going to buy a red BMW 3 Series. Do they still exist? Let's go for the new 4 Series, right? I'm showing my age there. So you're going to get a red BMW 4 Series. And you've spec'd it up. You know exactly what you want. You know what the alloys are. You've got the white leather interior. You know the size of the engine. You've got everything. And you're trolling round looking for something that fits your budget and you find it. You find it. And then what you do is you buy the car and the car's in the showroom and it's a Saturday morning. And if you're a family person, you might put your kids in the car. If you're single or just a partner, husband, wife, you get in the car and then you drive to the new forecourt, the garage, to pick up your new red BMW 4 Series. You pull up, you get out of your old car, you trade it in, you give them the keys, you walk up to your nice gleaming brand new car. You open the door, that new car smell hits you, the leather inside hits you, you sit in your car, you grab that steering wheel, and that sense of pride overruns you. You press the button on the ignition, engine fires up, and you reverse it out at car parking spot, and you pull it out onto the road. You turn left and you're driving down that dual carriageway, and all your hard work and all your results, everything's come to this point. What are you going to see for the next week all around you? What are you going to see? You're driving around in your red 4 Series BMW. What are you going to see from that point on and notice around you? Let me tell you, you're going to see red BMW 4 Series. They're everywhere. Now, the fact of the matter is, they've always been there. They've always been around you. They've been there for years. They've passed you every single day at week. But you never got laser focused on that because that wasn't a goal. That wasn't important to you than previous months or years gone by. So you've never acknowledged and seen and noticed one go past you. But the minute you focus on, I am buying and I've now owning a red BMW 4 Series, I'm telling you now, you'll start to see them everywhere. And the only difference is you're focused on it. It's visual. It's there. But they've always been there. You just never seen them. This is the same with goal setting. If we can visualize something and we can start to focus on it now, rather than waiting until we've driven it off the forecourt, and we start focusing on them, let's say red BMWs now, then what are we going to start to see appearing around us now that's always been there? We don't have to wait until we've bought it. We can do that now. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is a visualization technique. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on steroids. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to ask you to create a vision board, right? A vision board. And what I mean by a vision board, and how I explain it to my inner circle members, is you're going to get, let's say, a cork board off Amazon. The size of the cork board's entirely up to you. In my office, I've got an 8 foot by 4 foot, like a big sheet, like almost plywood. It's not plywood, it's a cork board covered in red velvet. So it's massive, but you don't need to get something as big as that. You can get maybe like a 2 foot by 2 foot, 3 foot square cork board. And what you're going to do is you're going to put that cork board up in a place in your house or in your office where you're going to clock that cork board every single day. You're going to put it in mind's eye. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to your goals, your 9 goals, and I'm going to ask you to either get one of the goals and then go and find that goal in a magazine. Find that goal online. Print that goal off. Example, if it's a date night with your husband or your wife, go and get a photograph of you and your wife having a meal, or you and your husband, you and your partner having a meal that you've done before. Put that on your cork board. If you want a red BMW 4 Series, go and cut that out of a magazine or get it off, print it off internet and get that on your cork board. If you want to take your kids to Disney and you want to take them to Florida and do the Disney experience, get some photos of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, get them up on your cork board. If the possessions or the toys is, do you know what? I'm going to buy myself a Rolex watch. Right, go and cut the image out of the Rolex watch and get it on your cork board. So what you're going to end up with, you're going to end up with a vision board with all 9 goals cut out, printed off, put on your cork board, and that cork board is going to be in mind's eye. Now, team, I take this to a different level because as well as having my vision board on my screensaver on my laptop, I've got a photograph of my vision board. On my screensaver on my phone, I've got a photograph of my vision board. In fact, I'm looking at it now, and the house that we moved into 3 months ago, I've still got that house as the full screen wallpaper on my phone. Also in my house, on the end carcass unit of my kitchen that leads to our utility room that I go into to get to wheelie bins and to get to my garage, on the end carcass of my kitchen unit, I've got photos on there as well. So it doesn't matter where I go, office, laptop, phone, kitchen, utility room, I can see my goals because I've put them in front of me, because I'm visualising them. Now, visualisation is massive when it comes to goal setting, because when we start to visualise these goals and we can see them every day, we will then start to see them appearing, just like the red BMW. And when we start to see these goals appearing, it usually forms part of an opportunity. So something pops up and you think, flipping heck, if I did that now, or I took that advice, or this opportunity has been presented with me, because I'm now switched on, the vision board radar switched on. If I take this opportunity now, because I can see it, it's going to get me my goal quicker. And it does, because you're focusing on your goals. And I go back to, you don't have to wait until you pull the car off the forecourt to see everything around you. We can see them opportunities now if we get laser focused on them. And many of my inner circle members will drop me an audio message or drop me a video saying, Craig, I can't believe it. I had this on my vision board. I had that on my vision board and I've ticked it off already. I only put it on my vision board 4 months ago, but I've achieved it. Yeah, you've achieved it because you've created a SMART goal. You've identified the 6 steps. You've got it on your vision board. So you're seeing opportunities around you to achieve that goal far quicker than you would have if you didn't do any of this. You see what I'm saying? So, I want you to take what you've just learnt in this episode and start to apply this SMART testing goal formula to any goal that you now decide to create. And you might have got one now that's floating around in your head. Right, at the end of this episode, while it's fresh in your mind, get that down and then get that first goal on your vision board and then work towards it. And I'm telling you now, since I started getting laser focused on my goals, I've achieved more in my business or my businesses and my life since getting laser focused with SMART goals than I've ever done before. And it's exactly the same with my inner circle members. In fact, why don't you go to our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group and community, and why don't you drop your goal in there that you've set, and why don't you put a post in asking my inner circle members about SMART goals and what goals have they achieved since they've put this process in place, and let my inner circle members tell you the power of goal setting and visualization. So you know what your action tasks are from this episode. Let's get a groove on, let's get a move on, and let's go and take some massive action and put these goals into place. And remember, if you're interested in joining our new Trades Freedom Club membership, where you're going to get access to all the marketing and the business coaching that you're going to need in a safe and thriving new secret exclusive community, that we're moving away from our Facebook group and moving away from our WhatsApp groups, then please consider hitting the link in and around the description of this episode and add yourself to our priority members waiting list. And remember, Albert Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode and we'll meet at the top. Thank you.